Good evening, Internet. I am the Warden. I am the lead designer and publisher for Broken Ruler Games, my own personal RPG imprint. And I'm here to talk to you today as the first of what will hopefully be a series of video journals for my current project, Optional Core. One of a few flaming bowling pins that I'm juggling at the moment. One of the reasons why I want to keep this video journal is keeping track for my own personal reasons, and also too to try and kind of get people like you involved as part of a community. What I'm looking to do with this particular project with Optional Core is to create a universal quick play role-playing system. The idea being that it's a series of adventures rather than having a concrete 250 page rule book and then coming out with a series of adventures where the primary focus is publishing adventures only, where the rules are contained within the adventure itself. The core rules taking only like 5 pages worth of your time, and everything else is presented in a clean format so that you only need about 5 or 10 minutes of prep time, which you can even do at the table with your players. So it's a somewhat bit of an ambitious project, especially in the sense that I'm modeling Optional Core off of the Optional System, which is the engine that's behind the ENnie award-winning Killshot role-playing game, which actually just won the 2013 Judges Spotlight, or one of the 5 that was awarded this year. So it's a little audacious because that takes a very complex and very specific system and is now trying to make it more universal and simpler on a very basic level, while maintaining some of the core values that made it so popular amongst its existing fans, who I'm assuming are those of you watching right now, and to attract new fans for those to come. So as a result, what I wanted to do is to kind of put this up there on the internet and hope that this is going to kind of attract a little bit of a following so that I can get some input and some feedback. Because when you're trying to design something that's universal, trying to do everything yourself, it's always, you're just asking for it to backfire. You're asking for it to fail. And so that's why I am turning to you, O esteemed ones, to help me with this with as much input as you are willing and able to provide, even with some playtesting, some Google Hangout time, however it turns out. So what I want to do right now is to just do a very quick introduction on what it is that I'm looking to try and do with this. With Optional Core, as I said before, I want it to be something where the core values of the system can be learned very quickly and established in a very brief period of time, where each particular adventure, depending on the genre, the setting, or however else you want to run it, can be customized as you play the game. So, for example, the idea that I have is that the first 5 pages of every Optional Core adventure would pretty much remain the same. That would have basically the 5 basic rules of what you need to know how to play. From there, the game adapts and adjusts on an as-needed basis. It can become more complex the further into the adventure that you go. It also would use pre-generated characters, so it makes things, once again, very quick and easy to pick up and play. You don't need to necessarily learn how everything works down to its very essence. You simply need to know how to read the sheet and everything that's right in front of you. And if you are a role player of any degree and basically know, what dice type is which, you are ready and set to rock and roll. One of the tricks I am planning on using is a series of icons that I have been working on developing recently, and I'm actually going to throw a picture up right now while I'm talking. You can also find this on my own personal blog, which is iamthewarden.blogspot.com, where you'll also find my audiobooks on how to speak the English language. Through these icons, what I'm hoping to do is A, ease the learning process by using visual cues, but also to help the director or game master with shortcuts and sidebars that are very easily distinguished. So, for example, if you're coming across a character that's in the game who has a very special advantage, who can gain some bonus dice, or who suffers a penalty for whatever reason, you'll find a sidebar that's marked with either the bonus hit icon or with the penalty icon, right away designating to you in a very clear visual format that this event is happening within this particular scene. Rather than having everything condensed into blocks of text where you have to read them before in advance, it's something that's a little easier to pick up and literally go on the fly with very little to no prep whatsoever. That is one of the key focuses that I'm trying to establish with this game. Because if you're anything like me, time is a huge factor, and prep time can be one of the biggest detriments to any game, let alone campaign, that you're trying to run. What I'm also trying to establish here is with pre-generated characters is that the adventures can be very specifically written with a very exact background and a history to basically to establish that here's how this particular world existed up until this point. We are now in the present moment, and this is when characters take over. Everything else that happens from this point on is then determined by the players and the directors, using the information that we have established back here. So, like I said, it's a little on the ambitious side because, I would like to be able to do some where it can run fantasy, science fiction, historical. It can go into any number of genres. If you wanted to run a Cthulhu game, it could be done this way. So that's the purpose that I'm trying to get with all this one right here. Now, I could go on and on and on and carry on until all the work that's already begun, that I'm theorizing on. As you can see, I have quite a few notes that are already on the go at this moment, along with various notebooks and everything that are scattered around. But that's not the purpose of today's original video journal. There's a reason why it's called number 0, and that's because this is basically the origin of the project. This is the part where you can start becoming involved in it. As I said before, I am looking to get as much input as possible into this matter. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using the optional core community, and I'm also going to be using the iamthewarden.blogspot.com, this close, to start the process going and to communicate with those of you who are interested in doing it. If you're not interested in doing it, well, tough, you're going to start seeing this anyways. So right now at this point, you'll be able to find some information on the optional core community. Go through, take a look, ask some questions, poke, prod, whatever it is that you want to ask. If there's something that you can see that's already a problem right away, if any kind of feedback or anything whatsoever, that's the entire purpose to all this. Over the next coming weeks and months, hopefully not into years, we're going to be, getting much more detailed, much more in-depth with this kind of thing. Right now, the fundamental that I need to achieve is to build the basic rules. And so the next time when you guys see me, we'll get into the standards of the basic rules of everything that you need to play at its absolute core essential to play optional core. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any input, feel free to contribute and provide, and I look forward to working with you guys through the next little while. Thank you very much.